Fast forward a couple months later in episode 4, and it took Devi a long time to get over Paxton. She went back to just being invisible in school. But after a while, she finally came to peace with her breakup, and she could look Paxton in the eye in school. But then one day, she comes into school and finds out that Paxton has a new girlfriend. And it's Phoebe Hayward, who's looked at by many as Sherman Oaks' Yankosaurus. Not by me, though. I think that's horrible that she's considered that. But she's currently dating Paxton Hall Yoshida, so you can't feel too bad for her. Trying to make her feel better, Eleanor says, look, I know it sucks that he moved on before you could, but look at Anissa. She hasn't dated anybody since Ben. And Fab says, are you sure about that? But Eleanor points out, you would know better than us. You guys are such good friends now. So that sexual tension is still very real. It gets even more awkward for Devi when Trent and Paxton walk over. Because of the fact that Eleanor is still dating Trent, forces Devi and Paxton to interact every once in a while, and it's always kind of weird. But Trent came over because that day is his 18th birthday party, and he wants his best friend Paxton and his girlfriend Eleanor to throw him a rager. Both Eleanor and Paxton begrudgingly agree to this, and Trent points out that they can do it at his place that night. Trent tells Paxton to invite his new girlfriend, but also to invite his old girlfriend. He says this right in front of Devi. And Devi tells him, I would love to, but I can't. It's actually a huge Hindu holiday tonight, so I got to go celebrate that. And considering Trent and Devi have never been all that close, he's okay with it. But the awkwardness needs to be addressed. So Paxton follows Devi to her locker and says, I know why you're not going to Trent's. You're not very religious. You're not going to Trent's because of Phoebe, right? Look, all I want to say is I know we haven't talked in a while, but I'm really sorry if this Phoebe thing hurts you. Devi does a horrible job of playing it off like she's doing great. Very non-believable, and Paxton sees right through it and says, I thought we could have an honest conversation, but I guess it's a little too soon for that. When she gets home that day from school, Devi is still in denial about the conversation she had with Paxton. She can't believe that he had a look of pity on his face, and Eleanor and Fab have to point out, well, you kind of were lying. You know what you have to do, Devi? You have to go to Trent's tonight, or you're going to seem heartbroken and pathetic. Now it's just a question on how to get out of Navaratri, which is the Hindu holiday that she's celebrating that night. And part of Navaratri is the Golu. It's a shrine to all of the gods. And Devi's grandmother's is on fire. She's even got Sanjay Gupta in there. But the finishing touch to her Golu is a little brown bag. And the Golu is something that she's going to use to brag to her frenemies, because she can't brag currently about Kamala, who still doesn't have a fiancé. She can't figure out why Kamala won't go out with any of the other young men that she introduced her to, but Kamala's dating Manish, and she's okay with the fact that he's, quote, just a school teacher. But the way that Devi's grandmother sees it, Mr. K doesn't respect the culture, and he's not worthy of Kamala. A little while later, the holiday kicks off. Devi's playing the harp, and then she gets a text message from Eleanor saying, you're not going to believe this. And it's a photo of Phoebe, not wearing many clothes, as if there wasn't pressure enough for Devi to get to this party. In the middle of Devi's grandmother having a pissing contest with her frenemy, there is a break in the action because Raya gets a phone call, which gives everybody the opportunity to hop on their cell phones. Devi gets on the phone with Eleanor, and Eleanor tells her, Paxton wanted me to check on you. He thinks you're, spiraling out of control. So now Devi needs to find a way to get to this party, but it's going to be tough because people are going to notice if she's gone. But then she gets a little bit of a window of opportunity when Mr. K shows up. Kamala had invited Manish to try to win over her grandmother. And when he enters, he starts doing some of the cultural things that he clearly didn't know a couple of months ago. But even then, when Kamala's grandmother introduces Manish to the rest of her friends, she introduces him as Devi's teacher, not Kamala's boyfriend. And Kamala has to correct her on this. With all of the madness of Manish showing up, Devi finds this opportunity to tell her mother that she has a headache, rush upstairs, change, and try to sneak out her window. But she's caught by her mom. She forces Devi to get back in the traditional Hindu garb, get downstairs, and start handing some food out. And downstairs, Manish is doing a really good job of winning the grandmother and the aunties over. I mean, complimenting the Golu did a lot. He even gets asked if he wants to eat some food, so he's making strides. But one person who's noticeably missing is Raya. And when Devi's mom goes outside, she finds Raya sitting on the step. Raya's upset because she just talked to her son, Nirdesh, and he just got done with his high school program at sea. When he got home, his friends were kind of being jerks to him. Raya says aloud, I wish I could just go make him some new friends. And that's when Devi's mom gets a great idea. She She takes Devi upstairs and says, "You're good to go to that party that you were trying to sneak to. But the catch is, you're good to bring Nirdesh. He's a sweet boy who has no friends and studies sea slugs." But that glowing endorsement from Devi's mom and the fact that the kid's name has nerd in it doesn't exactly have Devi excited to hang out with him. But it's her only option, so she has to accept. A little while later, Devi shows up to the party alone. First person she sees is Eleanor, and she explains that she had to invite this random loser to the party. She texted him the address, and he should be here soon. She looks over in the corner and sees Fab and Ben completely drunk arguing history. Fab had confronted Ben earlier in the day about the fact that he's so condescending and decided to put him in his place by having a drinking game. They'd quiz each other on American history, and if they got a question wrong, they'd have to drink. So when Devi sees these two drunk, she figures, oh, I could just dump my, quote, cousin off on these two. Then I can just show Paxton that I'm here. Ben overhears the fact that Devi had a cousin coming, and she says, yes, I do. If you see an Indian dork come through, let me know. But when Nirdesh shows up, he is not a dork. He's a normal, good-looking kid with an unfortunate name and a hobby that doesn't scream hot. Devi goes over and introduces herself to him, but she can't help but point out that he is not who she thought he was going to be. Nirdesh, who goes by Dez, takes offense to this, thinking that she was just stereotyping, and it forces Devi to walk everything back and apologize quickly so he doesn't leave. Devi offers to go get him a drink, but when she turns around, Paxton is kissing Phoebe, and that's just too much for her. Devi runs outside, is crying on the step, and Dez comes out to see what's going on. And she kind of fills him in on everything. And Dez points out, you saw your ex with somebody else, you survived. That's the worst it's going to be. Devi then has to ask the question that's been on everybody's mind since Dez walked in the room. How do you not have any friends? My mom said to take you out tonight because all your friends ditched you. It's another reason I kind of thought you were a dork. But Dez laughs and says, I have plenty of friends. My mom loves to exaggerate. Only one of my friends isn't talking to me right now, and that's because I hooked up with a girl that he liked. But I didn't know that he liked her. Devi quickly is coming to the realization that this kid is just nice. He's also even cooler when he says, let's go back in there and make your ex jealous. And the two walk in and start dancing with each other right in front of Paxton. And he definitely takes notice. Ben doesn't see any of this, by the way. He's too busy puking in a bush, conceding defeat to Fabiola, and admitting that, yeah, sometimes he is a jerk. When he tells Fab, I get why you don't like me, she says, it's not that I don't like you. I don't like how you treat my friends. You were a jerk to Anissa, and you were so mean to Devi for years. And he blurts out, well, she broke my heart. And that revelation was something that Fab had no idea about, and something that Ben hopes she doesn't tell her. But for Devi, Dez really saved the party. They take an Uber on the ride home, and when Dez asks, can I text you sometime, Devi can't say yes quick enough. But Devi missed a hell of a time at Navaratri. All those inroads that Manesh was making were undone when he had the audacity to take that little brown bag off the Golu. I mean, he had no idea. He thought it was trash. In the confusion, he ends up knocking one of the aunties into the table that was holding the Golu. The auntie falls down, the table collapses, and Manesh ends up leaving. Kamala apologized to her grandmother, and her grandmother says, this is why I had my reservations about Manish. All this did was prove he has no respect for our culture. I want you to be happy, but he's not a serious man. I'm sorry, but I just can't support this relationship. But Kamala sticks up for herself, saying, I understand your feelings, but I'm an adult, and I don't want to end things with him. So I think the best thing to do is for me to move out. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry. It'll be up in a day or two.